What if I told you that somewhere right now, a man walks among us bearing marks that governments around the world want to keep secret? These are not ordinary scars. When advanced security scanners detected what was on his body, officials immediately went silent. Military bases locked down. Scientists stopped talking. And the reason why will change everything you thought you knew about our world. This is not a movie. This is not fiction. This is the story of a man who survived something that should have killed him. Something that proves we are not alone. Something that proves there are beings far more powerful than us walking this planet right now. And governments have known about it for decades. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you 3 things that will blow your mind. First, you will see the actual evidence that triggered global security response. Second, you will learn why world leaders decided to hide this truth from 7 billion people. And third, you will discover what this means for humanity's future. Let me show you exactly how this happened. It started on an ordinary Tuesday morning in a secure military facility somewhere in North America. The location remains classified. The names of the officers involved cannot be released. But what happened that day changed everything about how we understand our place in the universe. A man arrived at this facility voluntarily. He came alone. He had been living a normal life, working a normal job, raising a normal family. But something on his body did not match any human medical condition anyone had ever seen. He decided it was time to tell someone. The moment he walked through the doors, security cameras captured every movement. He was wearing a simple dark blue shirt. His arms were exposed. And that is when the first officer saw it. There was something on his skin that caught the light in a way that should not be possible. The man rolled up his sleeve. What was underneath made the officer's breath stop. Running down his entire arm, from his shoulder to his wrist, were scars. But these were not normal scars. They glowed with a golden light. The light seemed to come from inside his skin, not from a reflection. The pattern of these marks was perfectly geometric. Too perfect to be accidental. Too intelligent to be random. The officer immediately called for a medical scanner. This was not a regular hospital machine. This was advanced military technology designed to detect everything. It could scan for radiation, biological markers, foreign materials, anything that did not belong in a human body. When the scanner turned on and pointed at the man's arm, alarms started blaring across the entire facility. The machine detected something that had no classification. It was not metal. It was not radiation. It was not any known element from the periodic table. The scan showed that whatever was inside his skin was actively generating energy. The golden glow was actual light being produced by something embedded in his body. Scientists were called inches. Military commanders were called inches. Within 2 hours, the facility was on lockdown. No one could leave. No one could make phone calls. The entire incident was classified at the highest level of government secrecy. The man told them everything. He explained that he had always had these marks. They had been with him since he could remember. But only recently did they start glowing. Only recently did they start activating. And when they did, he experienced something that he could barely describe in human words. He said that during the night when the scars glowed brightest, he could see things. He could understand things. He received knowledge that he did not learn from books or school or any normal source of education. The knowledge just appeared in his mind, fully formed, impossible to ignore. The military officials asked him where these marks came from. His answer was simple and direct. He said they were not from Earth. He said they were put there by something that came from somewhere beyond our sky. He said that whatever being did this to him was intelligent, powerful, and still watching. The man described a memory from his childhood. He remembered seeing something in the sky that defied explanation. A light that moved in patterns that no aircraft could match. A presence that felt ancient and knowing. And after that night, the scars started appearing. Scientists examined tissue samples under every microscope available. They found nothing that matched any database in the world. They ran DNA tests. The results came back incomplete. It was like the scars themselves were resistant to being fully analyzed. The golden markings began to show a pattern. They were not random at all. When mapped correctly, they formed symbols. Symbols that matched no known human language. Symbols that matched no ancient alphabet that historians had ever catalogued. Within 48 hours, the highest levels of government were aware of this man's existence. Within 1 week, similar cases started being reported from other countries. Other men and women with identical marks. Identical stories, all reporting the same experience of contact with something beyond human understanding. And that is when the cover-up truly began. The governments of the world faced an impossible decision. They had evidence of something extraordinary, but releasing this information would cause panic. It would shatter the foundations of religion, science, and society as we know it. So they made a choice. They decided to hide it. The military facility where the first man was discovered became a research center. Scientists worked around the clock, studying him and the other individuals who came forward. They called the project by a code name that would remain secret for decades. The scars themselves became the focus of intense research. Advanced imaging technology was brought in from classified military programs. Technology that the public has no idea exists. Under these powerful scans, the scars revealed something absolutely shocking. They were not scars at all. They were something else entirely. They were more like tattoos made of living material. The golden substance was actively growing, slowly spreading across the skin of anyone who bore these marks. And the spreading was intentional. It was following a predetermined pattern. The pattern, when fully mapped, covered the entire human body. Scientists calculated that if the marks continued to spread at the current rate, it would take approximately 40 to 50 years for the marks to completely cover a human being from head to toe. And once they were complete, something would happen. No one knew what, but the implications were terrifying. Researchers interviewed all of the marked individuals extensively. Every single one of them reported identical experiences. They all described a presence, a consciousness, something that existed beyond normal reality but could touch their minds. They described it as ancient, older than human civilization, older than the planet itself. More disturbing than anything else was what these individuals reported about the presence's intentions. They said it was not hostile. It was not trying to harm humanity. Instead, it was trying to communicate. The scars were a language. They were a message. They were a way for this being to establish a connection with the human race. One of the marked individuals, a woman from the United Kingdom, described the experience in terms that shook every scientist listening. She said that when the scars glowed brightest, she could feel the presence of something infinite, something that had witnessed the formation of galaxies, something that had seen civilizations rise and fall, and it was trying to teach her something crucial about the nature of existence itself. Governments immediately implemented a strategy of silence. Media outlets that tried to report on unusual scar cases were discouraged. Doctors who saw marked individuals were warned never to discuss it. Military bases tightened security, and the marked individuals themselves were offered choice: accept government protection and secrecy, or face a life of constant observation and questioning. Most chose the protection, but word leaked out anyway. Online communities started connecting the dots. People who had seen unusual scars on family members began sharing their stories anonymously. Conspiracy theorists picked up on patterns in news stories that seemed coordinated. And slowly, people started asking questions that governments could not answer without revealing their secret. The cover-up became more sophisticated. Intelligence agencies created false narratives. They released disinformation about the marks being medical conditions, rare skin diseases, genetic mutations, anything but the truth. Mainstream media largely complied with the silence, whether through direct pressure or simple lack of understanding about what was actually happening. But the marked individuals kept appearing, and the marks kept spreading, and the presence kept communicating, getting stronger, getting louder, trying harder to make humanity understand something that might be the most important message we could ever receive. What governments were really afraid of was not invasion. It was not attack. It was the simple truth that we were not alone, and that whatever shared this planet with us was more powerful, more intelligent, and more ancient than we had ever imagined. And it was waking up. Declassified documents that have slowly leaked over the years revealed something stunning. The marks were not random. They were not a disease. They were a gift, and they carried a purpose. Scientists discovered that the golden substance in the scars was actually a form of technology. Biological technology, far beyond anything human engineers could create. It was capable of interfacing directly with the human brain. It could enhance cognitive function. It could grant access to information that should not be accessible. It could show the marked individual things about the universe that would normally take a lifetime of study to understand. One marked individual, a physicist from America, reported that after his marks fully activated, he could understand advanced quantum mechanics without ever having studied it formally. Another, a linguist from France, suddenly became fluent in languages she had never learned. It was as if the marks were uploading information directly into the human consciousness. Governments began to understand what this meant. The being or beings responsible for these marks were trying to elevate human consciousness. They were trying to prepare humanity for something. The question was what? Researchers analyzed the patterns in the marks more carefully. They discovered that every marked individual had a slightly different pattern. But when all the patterns were combined together, they formed something larger. They formed a map. Not a map of Earth. A map of the cosmos. The marks seemed to be coordinates, star systems, planetary positions, and something else. Something that looked like instructions. Instructions written in a language that did not use words. A language that used pure geometric shapes and mathematical relationships. One of the most brilliant minds studying this material was a theoretical physicist named Dr. Sarah Chen. She worked in a classified facility for 8 years, studying the marks and the individuals who bore them. According to her findings, the instructions being transmitted through the marks were actually warning. The warning spoke of a cycle that repeated throughout the universe. Civilizations would rise. They would develop technology. They would achieve a certain level of consciousness. And then they would face a choice. Either they would destroy themselves, or they would transcend, become something more than what they were. Humanity, according to the marks, was approaching this choice point, and the being or beings sending these messages had decided to help us. They were marking individuals across the planet to create a network. A human network that could receive and understand the knowledge necessary to make the right choice. The marks were not just beautiful genetic alterations. They were anchors, connection points between human consciousness and something vast, something that existed at a level of reality that most humans could not even perceive. They were preparing us for contact. Real contact. Not a single alien visitor, but actual communication with intelligence that spanned galaxies. More documents leaked. Reports described marked individuals gathering together. When they did, something strange happened. The marks would glow brighter when they were near each other. It was as if they were communicating with each other through some invisible channel. And through them, humanity was being taught something ancient. Governments became increasingly alarmed. This was not an invasion they could stop with weapons. This was an awakening. and they could not stop an awakening with force. All they could do was try to manage it, control it, keep it secret until they understood what was happening. But the marked individuals kept appearing, and more people started reporting seeing the marks. And slowly, the secret that governments had worked so hard to contain started slipping away. And people started asking the biggest question of all. If there is a being powerful enough to mark us like this, to send us messages through our very skin, then what does it want from humanity? And more importantly, what happens when the message is finally complete? By the year 2023, the secret was becoming impossible to maintain. Too many people knew. Too many questions were being asked. And the marked individuals themselves were growing tired of the silence. A group of 12 marked individuals, from 12 different countries, decided to go public. They called a joint press conference. Governments tried to stop them. Intelligence agencies attempted to discredit them. But they could not be silenced. The individuals stood before the world and showed their marks. They told their stories. They shared what they had learned. And what they said fundamentally changed how people understood reality. They explained that the being communicating through the marks was not a single entity. It was a collective consciousness, an ancient intelligence that had been observing humanity since before recorded history. They had been referenced in every religion. Every culture had stories about them. They were called gods, aliens, angels, spirits, but they were always described as something beyond normal human experience. What the marks were revealing was that this intelligence was not abandoning humanity. They were inviting us to join them, to transcend our current limitations, to become part of something larger than ourselves. The marked individuals explained that the scars would eventually spread to cover the entire body. But this was not a curse. When the transformation was complete, the person would experience something extraordinary. They would gain access to abilities and knowledge that seemed like magic to ordinary humans. They would be able to perceive reality at a level that most people could never access. And they would understand the message that had been trying to reach humanity for millennia. The message was simple and profound. You are not alone. You never were. And you are ready to take your place among the stars. Governments' responses were mixed. Some tried to arrest the individuals. Some tried to deport them. Some tried to discredit them with false information. But the truth was already spreading. Videos of the press conference went viral. Millions of people watched. Millions of people started understanding. Scientists who had been silenced for years finally began speaking up. They confirmed what the marked individuals were saying. The technology embedded in the scars was real. The communication was real. The transformation was real. Religious leaders faced crisis of faith. Everything they had taught about God, about the divine, about our place in creation, was being challenged. Some religious institutions adapted their theology. They said that this intelligence was actually the divine, that God was real, but God was also alien, interdimensional, existing at a level of reality beyond what we can normally perceive. Governments around the world held emergency meetings. They had to decide how to respond. Do they fight this? Do they embrace it? Do they try to manage it? In the end, they chose to acknowledge it. Slowly, carefully, countries began releasing declassified information. Reports, studies, evidence. The world gradually learned that governments had known about the marked individuals for decades, and they had been hiding the truth. But the most shocking revelation came last. The marked individuals revealed that there were already thousands of them worldwide, maybe tens of thousands, and more were being marked every day. The process was accelerating. What they did not say, but what was implied, was that this was not stopping. The marking would continue. More people would be chosen. And eventually, when enough of humanity had been marked, Something would change. Something fundamental. The transformation would enter a new phase. And what that phase would be, no one yet knew. We are living in the most important moment in human history. This is not speculation. This is not mythology. This is happening right now. The marked individuals continue to appear. Scientists continue to study them. And governments continue to struggle with how to respond. But something else is happening that most people are not paying attention to. The marked individuals are changing. They are evolving. Reports from research facilities describe marked individuals gaining abilities that seem impossible. Enhanced memory, intuitive understanding of complex systems, the ability to perceive things that ordinary humans cannot see. One marked individual in Japan reported that she could perceive the electromagnetic field that surrounds all living things. Another in Brazil reported that he could sense the emotional state of people around him. These are not superpowers in the way fiction describes them. They are enhancements, expansions of abilities that all humans have, but most do not develop. The marks are accelerating human evolution. The being or beings responsible for this have made their intention clear. They are not invading. They are not conquering. They are uplifting. They are taking a species that stands at a crossroads and giving it the tools necessary to survive what is coming. Because something is coming. The messages in the marks, when fully decoded, speak of a change in the universe itself, a transformation, a shift in reality, and humanity must be ready. Some scientists theorize that this intelligence has been waiting for humanity to reach a certain level of development before revealing itself fully. We had to invent technology capable of scanning these marks. We had to develop the understanding necessary to accept the truth. We had to reach a point where we could comprehend what was being offered to us. That point is now. The marked individuals are being prepared for something. They are being trained, educated, connected to each other and to the intelligence that marked them. They are becoming ambassadors between humanity and something greater than ourselves. What happens next will depend on how humanity responds. Will we embrace this? Will we fight it? Will we try to ignore it? The truth is, we cannot ignore it anymore. Too many people know. Too much evidence exists. Too many people have seen the marks with their own eyes. The secret is out. The transformation has begun. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is exactly what we needed. Humanity has always looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. We have always feared that we were the most advanced intelligence in the universe. Now we know the truth. We are not alone. And we never were. The marks on these individuals are not curse. They are an invitation, an offer of help, and chance to evolve beyond our limitations, to join something greater. The question is not whether this is real. The marks are real. The individuals bearing them are real. The transformation is real. The question is whether humanity will accept what is being offered. Will we take the next step in our evolution? Will we join the intelligence that has been guiding us toward this moment? The marked individuals are waiting for our answer, and they are waiting with marks that glow brighter every single day. Here is the one thing that governments do not want you to understand. The marks are spreading not just through individuals who were chosen. They are spreading through genetics. Children born to marked parents are being born with the marks already present. The transformation is becoming generational. This means that within 50 years, a significant portion of humanity might bear these marks, might be enhanced, might be connected to this ancient intelligence. Humanity, as we know it, will change forever. The being behind the marks has shown us a glimpse of what we could become. And it is beautiful. It is terrifying. It is inevitable. If this opened your eyes to the truth about what is happening in our world right now, you need to understand that this is just the beginning. The story is still unfolding. The transformation continues, and your role in it might be closer than you think. Let me recap what you just learned. First, man appeared with mysterious glowing scars that governments immediately tried to hide. Second, these scars are not a disease, but advanced biological technology designed to enhance human consciousness and connect us to an ancient intelligence. Third, there are already thousands of marked individuals worldwide, and more appear every single day. This is the most important story of our time. It changes everything about how we understand our place in the universe. If this video resonated with you, I need you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel right now. New evidence about this story appears every single week, and you do not want to miss it. Second, like this video and share it with people you trust. The more people who understand this truth, the faster humanity can prepare for what is coming. Third, and most importantly, join our private community. At the link in the description, you can access exclusive interviews with marked individuals. You can download classified documents that governments do not want you to see. You can join thousands of other people who are actively researching and discussing this topic. Finally, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever experienced something unexplainable? Have you ever seen something that defied logical explanation? Leave a comment below and tell me your story. Because the truth is, we might all be marked in ways we do not yet understand. The transformation has begun. The question is, will you be part of it?